When you understand that no matter what you've lived through, I am whole. I am more than my circumstances. I am more than anything that has ever happened to me. Is it our responsibility to plant the seed of possibility? There's life out there. There's potential in you. You are the spark of divinity. Wake up!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Conscious Conversations with me, Brett Moran, and of course, the cheeky coconuts. I'm here with a beautiful guest, and I'm going to make sure I get this name right. Thembi. Did I get that right?
Yay! He got it right!
So if you don't know me that well, when you get to know me, you'll know that I have a bit of a slight problem sometimes trying to pronounce people's names, especially if they're trickery. I was calling my friend Brian for years, and I've been calling Thembi tempeh, which is literally the food for a while.
Yeah.
Right? So I do apologise, Thembi, but sometimes I struggle on these names. Anyway, that was probably the worst introduction I think I've ever done on the podcast, but also the best introduction I've ever done on the podcast. You are such a beautiful soul. Thank you so much for coming to this podcast. And on a serious note, the way that I know this beautiful lady is that we live in the same kind of village, the same area, and she is an English teacher for all of the local Burmese children that live here. So basically, I'm sometimes laying in my bed, I'm having a little lay-in or I'm meditating, and all I can hear is Thembi shouting to the children, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And I can hear all of these adorable Burmese kids screaming, I love myself, I love myself. And honestly, I've got this big smile on my face, and then I just start my day like that. So thank you for being an amazing woman, amazing soul.
Thank you. But did you, Brad? You're just as amazing.
Oh,
You're like a really cool daddy.
amazing.
He's my baby daddy.
Baby daddy.
My baby daddy for my babies.
So all the children think that you're the baby mama, I'm the baby daddy.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
started a little rumor in the village, right?
They started a rumor in the village that we're dating. And I was like, oh, this is interesting because I'm married.
You've got a husband and everything, right? Just to get... Yeah. So basically, I was meditating one day, and actually it was a while before that. I was meditating before, and I love giving back. I love children and animals. And I was like, I really want to do something with the kids in the local village here. Didn't know anything about these Burmese children that are here. And I just put it out to the universe, and I kid you not, literally a day later or a couple of days later, you walk like the Pied Piper. Thembi's walking along the beach with all these little Burmese children following her, screaming, I love myself, I love my life, I am amazing. And then she sees me meditating. She says, you want to teach yoga, meditation, football? I'm like, yes. And that's how it started, right?
That's how we started. But first we met, I think it was like April. I just moved here, and you were running on the beach.
That's correct.
And I looked at you and I was like, oh, this man is so sexy. And you turned around, you're like, hello. And I was like, hello.
Amazing.
And then we just talked, and that was that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we've become friends, and we literally just took a group of the children that
Yeah.
we teach over to Koh Samui
Yeah.
for an incredible adventure. It's like we literally took the kids to go and see the elephants, which was amazing, right?
The elephants, in my lineage and tradition, Zulu, right? We call it Indlovukazi.
Say it again.
Indlovukazi.
That sounds amazing.
Meaning, like, the spirit of the elephant is the spirit of remembrance of who you are, remembrance of your purpose, remembrance of why you're here. Why did you sign up for this mission? And that's why it was so special. Like, I was writing in my diary when I got back, and I was like, how did this British man know that I needed to get an initiation with the elephants? Like, that's my baby daddy with my babies. And I was like, oh God, thank you so much. Because we don't even realize from a cultural perspective that to you was something that you love, going to see the elephants, right? But seeing it with the children, and for me, it had such a significant imprint on a spiritual level, ancestral level. We always call upon the spirit of the elephants to remember our grandmothers and our grandfathers. So, bro, dude, baby daddy, I love you. It was way deeper than just going to take the children to the sanctuary.
Oh, amazing.
Thank you, baby daddy.
You're so welcome. Honestly, I went to the elephants I've been going to different sanctuaries for a while, but I remember one experience going there. Actually, that photo there. And there's my third eye on the elephant's third eye. And as I turned around, all of the camera crew and everybody was like, And I was like, what? For me, it felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was like 5 seconds we had this photo.
yeah.
And then all of the camera crew were like, and I was like, what? And he's like, whatever just happened between you two, like the elephant just stopped. And this elephant was huge. And the reason why I'm sharing that is because wherever that place, that dimension I went with that elephant for a second, it was just so real and eternity. It was like pure spirit.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. So that's why I've always loved going back to elephants. And I think it's the same with the children and the animals. We kind of come away from that a little bit as we grow up or get lost in this society and this matrix.
I swear to you, we get so lost. Just looking at them, I was looking at the footage that from that we shot, but just looking at the elephant's eye, just looking into the elephant's eye. It's like one eye is both my eyes or maybe even my nose too. Well, okay, that's exaggeration. But I was like looking at it and I was like so in the spirit of strength and power.
Yeah.
Because the elephant is so grounded and so assured of itself and its connection to the earth and who it is. It's not confused and like, oh my God, should I be sure? No, it's like, I know who God made me as. And I'm going to stand in my power. And I'm like, oh, I can do this. Hallelujah. Can't do this. Oh, preacher's here now.
I love the preacher.
I forgot my fan. You know, in Baptist church or in Black church, you have a fan. Like, oh, hallelujah. Let's start now. Okay, now she started. Now she's here now.
She's gone. That's it.
She's here now.
I was actually in Tanzania many, many years ago in a black church with all of these beautiful people, and I was the only white guy dancing, and they had their hands on me, and it was like really Christian based, and that. And
they were praying for you.
I was gone.
Oh.
I even feel it now. The goosebumps I felt. I actually felt more at home there sometimes than I have in my own hometown. Like I just felt so connected. For me, Africa is just the earth, and it's just the people, and it was an incredible experience. So I get it when you go on one and you do all that. Like I really feel it. I love it. Which brings me to a point. Like we've got so much to talk about, but let's just talk about the color of our skin.
Yeah, let's go there.
Let's just go straight.
Okay, hold on. Before we get to the color of the skin, listen, I'm going through kind of like a heat wave at the moment.
Heat wave.
So, like, I am an African woman, so we use tissue when we're preaching, okay? So, right now, we're in church, right? We're in church,
Preach
right?
to me, baby.
We're in church. So, like, the Africans, they like to do this. So, if you see me do this, don't worry, okay? I'm talking to my baby daddy. She here now. The church lady, she here. Church lady.
So we had a lovely conversation. You are, if you haven't realised, from a beautiful place called South Africa. I came from a council estate, like a rough neighbourhood on the outskirts of South London. I was brought up by a very, very racist football hooligan who thought the colour of your skin determined who you was, and if you wasn't British, you weren't supposed to be in the country. Blah blah blah. And you was going through some crazy stuff, and you told me that you took a white guy, you married a white guy, and took him back to your family. So like we've come from such completely different worlds, and somehow we're now connected here in Thailand, taking these little children to the elephants. But what I would love, because you said some incredible things on the video about like, we talked about, and actually it wasn't on the video, it's just when me and you were having a conversation about like racism and the colour of our skin and how, I don't know, it's just so silly for me. I'm just like, I just don't get that, and I know it really causes a lot of tension in the world. What was it like for you growing up in South Africa, like going through all the stuff that you went through?
It took me, I would say, 14 years to integrate, like, all of the experiences. So, important memory, vignette, let's say, was when I think I was like 10. And the night before, there was a massacre. So there was these men that came with machetes and guns, and they were going into homes and pulling out women and children and just raping them and just slaughtering their throats. The next morning we were driving to school and we were like seeing dead bodies and like riding over dead bodies.
Wow.
I'm still, because I'm so deep into the psychology and shamanic psychology, I'm still finding that memory and integrating it, because it took me 7 years of not being able to sleep, because every time I'd sleep at night, I would just feel the kudum over a dead body. And like hearing a woman scream and then she goes quiet, knowing that she's just died. Yeah. So it was like, there was a period, there was like maybe 6 months where every night my dad had to go out with the men in the neighborhood, guns and machetes, because they had to protect the woman and the children who were indoors. So you never knew if your dad was going to come back.
Or if you're safe.
Yeah, because like if they kill all the men, like there would be like a group of militia that would come, maybe like 100 men, and they could kill all the men in the little, who didn't live in a village, a township, and then the woman would be totally exposed. So the woman would be praying, and the children, women and children would be praying, and the fathers would be out protecting the women and the children.
And who was it? Was it like different tribes? Is it
Yeah.
black on black? Or was
Black
it-
on black.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it over? I know it's all.
Most of the time it was,
Was it apartheid?
it's apartheid, yes.
Yeah.
But trauma, war, and conflict cannot be, there's not one thing that starts everything, right? So it's usually I'm angry at you, but I don't speak to you about it. And then I go tell this person, and then it becomes a third party thing. And then the story gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it was black on black violence. We can say, yes, it was started by the white people going, hey, go and do this to your people. But the story just continues and there's no healing. Because I lived that hell for 14 years and I still kind of live that hell at times. But I'm like, I focus on the healing. I focus on, okay, it happened. I can keep living that traumatic PTSD moment, or I can focus on healing myself and being the answer to those who are still living in that PTSD traumatic state of being and moment.
Like what you've just said, like, I don't know if anyone, if you're watching this, like I can feel it in this room, right? And if you're watching it on the podcast, like you can probably feel it or hear there's something in the energy of what you've just said because it's so raw and real. How on earth do you heal? You just said you spent time healing. Like how do you heal over some of that stuff that you've seen?
So I've been in therapy since I was 16. So I was in art school. I went to boarding school and I went to an art school instead of traditional school. So I still did the math and the English and science, but like my focus was fine arts. And in the process of creating something new with my hands, I did a lot of sculpture and plaster of Paris and welding and clay work, dancing and drumming and music. That connected me to the wholeness of the universe. Of myself, I cannot heal, even with therapy, because talk therapy is, you could sit in talk therapy for 30 years. I studied psychology, I know this. But for me, at 13, being able to go to art school and tapping into the right hemisphere of my brain, healing intuitively happened, because wholeness is. We're not here broken. We came in whole from the universe. When you understand that no matter what you've lived through, I am whole. I am more than my circumstances. I am more than anything that has ever happened to me. So yes, I can be in therapy to talk about that and actually look at it and say, oh, okay. But truth is I'm whole. I'm whole. Nothing can touch me. Nothing. I am, a body, but my spirit is whole. When you connect to that spirit of wholeness, that is the wholeness of the universe. Everything that is unlike wholeness must dissolve with ease, grace, and dignity. It must dissolve. So the story dissolves, the energy dissolves. You look at that experience from, that wasn't fun. It was not fun to live through that. But the wholeness washes the pain, and then from that pain, you find the purpose of that pain, and then you become the pill for those that are still stuck in that PTSD, that are still stuck in that trauma. Because now you're the living example of, no, wholeness is real. There's nothing else but wholeness. I am living proof. No pills, therapy and ayahuasca and stuff like that, but meditation, vipassana, yoga, prayer work, therapy, yes.
Guys, I know you're enjoying the video, but I've got a quick question for you. Are you okay with that monkey mind being a monkey? We've all got this voice inside the head, or voices filled with self-doubt, criticism, judgment. But most people don't understand how important it is to master that monkey mind. So look, if you've got a monkey mind or a voice that is just busy inside your head and it never seems to shut up, I know exactly how you feel. And thankfully, I found meditation about 20 years ago. And so, I have an amazing opportunity for you. It's the Bodhi Meditation Teacher Training Program. This 10-week program is designed to share with you 8 Bodhi meditations. And the amazing thing about these meditations is that they are scientifically proven to help you reduce stress, reduce anxiety, uplift your mood, boost your energy. In other words, create that kind of lifestyle, that energy and that health and that happiness that most people crave. Over the course of 10 weeks, I'm going to be your meditation coach. And at the end of this course, you're going to become a certified Bodhi meditation teacher. That means that you can coach people one-to-one, you can work from anywhere in the world, build online courses, or even teach meditation at yoga retreats or anywhere you decide. So click that link below and together will open up your heart so that you wake up feeling positive and literally this buzz for life. The link is below. Now you can get back to your video. Have an amazing day. Do you think this is why we have topics such as racism? Because people forget that they are more than the color of their skin, the shape of their body, their identities, that we are whole. You know, the whole point of that, namaste, means the light in me sees the light in you. Like, yeah, we've got different things. It's obvious. We're not silly. There's different kind of pigmentations and there's tattoos and there's like beautiful eyelashes and skin, and you know, because when I hear things of racism, and again I know it's a very touchy subject, I just laugh at it. Not at it, but I laugh at it. I'm like, when you know that you're spirit and you're whole and you are this universe, like you would not fight each other over this. Like, what are you doing? It's like, to me it's insane. But and again, not judging it, but do you think that's probably why we've come so far away from God and the wholeness that now we're fighting over these silly little things? I shouldn't say silly because it's hardcore what you've gone through.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you think that's why we've come so far away from the wholeness? We've forgotten who we really are.
Yeah, we've fallen really low as a species. As a human species, we've fallen really low. Truly, we really have fallen really low. Because when we truly understand who we are, I'm a spiritual being having a spiritual spiritual experience in a human body. That's what you are. Number one, we are God incarnate. We are the spark of divinity full on here.
Hell yeah, sister.
Okay, so I don't kind of mind that you come in with a white body. That's why I said to my parents when I brought my white husband, let's go there. I was like 13 years old, my first white boyfriend. Oh my goodness, my dad went nuts. He went nuts. And then it was a British guy. My dad was like, oh, she's not stopping with these white men. Do you know what these white people have done to us? I'm like, Baba, I understand. I saw it. I lived through it. I experienced racism in private schools. And I said, but like my heart loves these white people. I don't know what to do. My heart loves these white people. These white people, I love them.
Amazing.
He wasn't very happy. But he finally accepted it. You know, my mother's always been open. She's never been, but I think it's a masculine thing too. Men are very protective. And if you've hurt a man, they want to protect their children and their women. So of course men are going to be a little bit more affected by racism. As women too, but like the men need to be the ones at the forefront, protecting the woman and men. So that's why my dad couldn't.
Tribal, kind of ancient thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I spoke to my dad, like years later, he actually ended up marrying a very beautiful Thai woman after all of his racist years. You know, and he realised how silly his racism was. But you know, he was young, and I said to my dad, I was just like, what made you racist? Like, what happened? And he told me a story. That's what you was just literally talking about. He went to work when he was like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old guy, and there was like a foreman on the job who was an older gentleman, who was a black guy, and he basically bullied my dad a little bit. So my dad's a young man, and there's this older man, and he bullied my dad. And then like a few weeks later, there was a group of people that were called like the National Front, which was like a racist group, and he joined them. And I was like, do you think that's why you became racist? And then you kind of like brainwashed me as a child and would scream and shout about it. And it was like, yeah. And it's like, wow, that was just a story. And one experience led to a whole lifetime of, well, not a lifetime actually, like I say, he got married to a very beautiful soul. And he just dropped the whole racism, he said how silly it completely was. But it just fascinates me, like that was that one experience and that was something, and you're right, it was very masculine. It was this kind of energy of protecting his son or his family.
Yeah.
He believed it was his country. Like somehow England was my dad's country. I'm like, it's a pretty big place, mate. So yeah, you're right.
But I think we also have to understand our parents didn't grow up in an age where they went to private schools and had experiences where they could meet other people from other cultures.
Yeah.
They didn't grow up in an age where there's social media and I am like kissing you and, you know, hi, Daddy, I love you, right? They didn't grow up. And that, like, if you look at our children, they are growing up in an age where they are seeing a black and white teacher kissing each other, hugging each other.
Yeah.
But they still had
They're dating.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they don't come from a culture of seeing black and white. They didn't know what, they were like, Africa? Why so black?
This is the Burmese kids.
This is the Burmese. Yeah. Why so dark, teacher? Oh, so interesting. And they used to touch my hair. So I think for me, what I've learned from the children is they're showing me a little bit of what my parents were probably afraid of and kind of like my parents' mindset when I would bring all of these white people home. Because I used to love bringing white people home. They were like, why the white people? But like, why this Jewish guy? Why this Jewish guy? Tell me why. Why these white people? I'm like, I don't know. They fascinate me. Asian people too, I'd bring them. They're like, but why?
I'd love to have seen that. The funny thing is, you know, when I was growing up, like where we lived, one of my neighbours moved out and a family moved in next door. And her children, she was a white woman, and her children were like mixed race, like half black, half white. And they became my best friends. And so the person that moved in next door to my dad, who was so racist, actually was a black guy, and I became best friends with his kids. Still his friend to this day, you know. And it just makes me really laugh at these kind of topics. But it is a serious topic which is causing a lot of chaos in the world. It's so funny how you've gone against the grain in your family tradition or whatever.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean, I was the first person to bring a white person home, and I brought him to the township too, okay? It's not like fancy. Okay, we went to the fancy hotels in South Africa, Johannesburg, but then I also took him home, and I said, this is where I grew up. I grew up in this one-car garage, and we raised ourselves. My dad did the best he could, and this is the woman I am because I grew up here. Yes, now the house is finished and it looks beautiful, but we used to live in a one-car garage. And my husband was like, damn, man, you've come far. I'm like, you better recognize.
Put a ring on it.
He did. He put a ring on it in 3 months. But I was like, there is no color. There's no color.
Glad. You know, I said this once to a black girl I was dating, and she thought I was crazy, and she went right off on me, really tripped me. And I was just like, I'm so glad that you're saying that. So thank you for sharing that.
No, honestly, I've lived through racism, and I've experienced the pain of it. But I thought to myself, I could be angry for the rest of my life. I could be wounded. These white people. Yeah. Or I can just be like, oh, some crazy stuff happened. But what am I supposed to learn from this? War and hate and conflict is a strategy of war. So that we can continue to hate each other, so that the consciousness of planet Earth can continue to go lower. Who is doing this? I don't know. I don't care to research anymore. I'm tired. But I'm here to be a farmer and keep planting seeds of hope and love and joy. I don't care about the color of your skin. As long as you're nice and you're kind and you're not a crazy, I'm going to love you.
Amen, sister, yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. Just one more thing on that. One thing that I love is Bob Proctor. He's the guy.
I love Bob Proctor.
Amazing. Rest his soul, you know. And he talks a lot about abundance and law of attraction. And he was talking to somebody at the front of the stage once. And he said, and I'm just, as we're talking about this, it made me think, it's like that's white. That sign where it says road. I'm not white. I'm like pink and I'm covered in tattoos. And that's black. And like that's a lot darker than you're black. And I'm just
I'm like,
so for me, it's like again, don't want to go too far down the whole rabbit hole, but it's like, who created these stories that you're black and I'm white? And it's like, again, it's just a separation to maybe control us and get us to hate each other. And now when you look at the world, people fighting, not only the colour of our skin, these invisible borders, which we call countries, these silly laws and stories. And it's just always the innocent children or people that get hurt the most, which makes me feel a bit like, wow, that's sad, you know? Especially when you know that you are wholesome and divine and you are that light and you feel it and you're like, I just want everybody to feel that.
Yeah. I think it's going to take a lot of forgiveness. I really think it's going to take a lot of forgiveness. The only way I've gotten out of hate, or no, I've never really hated. Hate has never been my thing. But sadness. Yeah, I would really say sadness and anger of the injustices that happen across the world is forgiveness. Because it's really, truly ignorance that makes us hate each other. Because listen, if I cut you here and you cut, we're both going to bleed. So why are you going to come and hurt me? If you're hurting me, you're planting hurt for yourself. But if we don't understand this on just a heart-based level, we keep being ignorant. We keep perpetuating racism. We keep perpetuating anger and hatred on the planet. And it's because we're not healed. So if I am angry at the world and, the world is this because these people came to my country and they took my job. These people, okay, you're going to sit in that anger for the rest of your life and you're going to be a miserable, sorry human being. Or you can be like, okay, let me go learn from these people. They kind of got some resilience. Let me learn something from them. And then you become a more sophisticated, sexier human being.
Sophisticated and sexy, I'll take that. All day long. It's funny because when I actually think of some people maybe that are very, again, Bob Proctor, he says people with limited minds live limited lives. And I love that because when I go back, say, to certain places and see family or friends and they're kind of in their little boxes and it's kind of racist. And I'm just like, wow, I've traveled to Africa, to India, to Vietnam. I've met children in hospitals. I get to meet beautiful people like you. I'm like, I actually feel sorry for them. Not in a patronizing way, but it's like there's so much life. There's so many beautiful people. There's so many cultures and colors and wonderful things that you can see, but you're just locked into this rigid mind that somebody's planted into your brain. You know, whether it's control, fear, whatever. But it's like, get out of that.
But like, how? But like, let's ask Teacher Brett, why?
Teacher Brett, I love that. Teacher Brett comes from the Burmese children. Literally, I was driving down the, just to come off the subject a little bit, I was driving down the shop yesterday to get a shake, a banana shake, and this little kid's just screaming. He's got a football. He's like, Teacher Brett! And now I know it. As soon as they say teacher, and I pulled my bike over and I spent like 30 minutes playing football with this little Burmese kid. So.
I don't think that will always be your title. Even the day you take your last breath, look, you've planted something so precious in them. You will always be Teacher Brett. You will always be my baby daddy to me. It doesn't matter. When we're 97 years old, we're sitting there and we're like, remember the good old times when we were Teacher Thembi and Teacher Brett? Oh, baby daddy, those were good old times.
Doing our podcast in our beds because we can't move.
No, I'm going to be sexy. No.
Sexy,
I'm going to be sexy.
And mobile.
Exactly. Yoga body, sexy.
Running around
I don't mind the wrinkles and stuff, but I'm still going to be real sexy with a swimsuit and stuff like this and perky boobs. Yes.
Your energy is amazing, mate. It's great. It's so good.
Okay, what were we talking about?
You was going to ask Teacher Brett.
Oh, yeah. Is it our responsibility to plant the seed of possibility? Because like I feel so heartbroken when I see people who have such incredible potential.
Yeah.
It literally breaks my heart. And I'm like, how can I plant seeds faster to like, yo man, there's life out there. There's potential in you. You are the spark of divinity. Wake up.
Yeah.
I think it's our responsibility. What do you think? Please talk to me about this because I'm from a masculine. Teacher Brett, masculine, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think so. I think obviously you're doing incredible work. And I think for me, it's just like, I can't get out of it. Like somebody says, do you want to come and teach the kids? I'm like, yeah, I didn't even think about it. Or do I want to go to India and, see the children there or all the places that I've been, it's never really even been it's not been a thought in my logical brain. Actually, coming back to something you said a minute ago, it's just more my essence or my intuition just knew that that's what I'm meant to be doing. And so I'll always inspire people like the camera guy or, you know, my friend Tristan yesterday who says he needs to lose weight. And I'm like, right, you've got to get on with it. Let's go for it. It doesn't matter what the topic is. I think that spark of inspiration or divinity is it's just who I am. So I think every human being has got that. I think everybody's got that role to play, if we want to call it a role. I just think so many people we've also got so much of this, like ego and ignorance and stories that are in our head, either from society and the news and the media or just from our own delusions, that we can't hear that. We
can't hear that.
Yeah, Gandhi said that voice is always trying to talk to you, but the trouble is most people don't listen. Coming back to meditation. Like if I wasn't meditating for all of these years, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Nah.
I'd be so ego, so selfish, focused on the things that I'm doing for me, what I can get from people or the world. Now, like I kind of get a little bit of it. I kind of understand the meditation a little bit. I just hear this voice and it's like, it's got nothing to do with you. Just serve, give back, have fun, you know. And so, yeah, I just think everybody has that potential to spark and plant more seeds. But I just feel like we can't hear it, because we're listening to that voice. This was coming back to something you were saying earlier. I think all of the madness, all of the crap that's going on in the world, from racism to anything, you know, whatever's going on in the world, it's because we're in our ego, not in our essence. Like if I really just summed it up, it's like all we need to help people do really is close your eyes and feel that.
Yeah.
Like come back to whatever that goodness is within you. When you feel that, boom, like it'll just take over.
Even the mental health crisis would end in the world. Because it's always from our egoic stories. Like you said, how did you heal from that kind of trauma of South Africa? I got out of the egoic story. I am a black woman who has been abused, and I must hate white people because I've been abused. White people. Yes, white people came to South Africa and did some nasty stuff. That's the egoic story. That's the story. Do I want to live in that story? What does it give me? Ulcers, anxiety, rage that is not sacred, a limited lifestyle, a limited life, or forgiveness, understanding. Why did they do that? They didn't have understanding of what's going on. How can we teach each other? What can I learn from them? What can they learn from the Zulu people or from the African people? What can I teach you? You know, what do you need to learn about culture? What do you need to learn about the Africans? What can I learn from your people? How can we hug each other and build together? And this is what we've done together. We built a school out of like nothing. Do you know what I mean? And we took our children to go see elephants. Maybe it was the first time they'd seen elephants.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the first time they'd experienced something like sophisticated. For us, it's like, oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But to them, it was a life-changing moment. If I was filled with with anger, we wouldn't have been able to create that for someone else. It wasn't about us.
If we was filled with all of the stories that we're supposed to be filled with, we wouldn't have never met each other. Like, and that to me would have been so sad. I get to meet a beautiful spark of energy, of divine light, and you're so wonderful. And and if I had all those stories kept in my head by somebody else, I would have never met you. I wouldn't be here. It's like, and vice versa. You know?
We wouldn't have been able to serve God as those children because we didn't have the story. Because we didn't have the story, we were like, okay, whatever, you're sexy, I'm sexy, let's get together, let's have some children, let's raise these
children. Now got, 8 or 9 kids?
Let's raise these children, let's take them out, and it's like, I'm grateful that my parents taught me not to hate. Yeah. I'm really grateful that my mother taught forgiveness. My dad was like, it's a waste of time to hate. You're going to be the crazy one. But it took him maybe like 10 years of being married. That's when he turned around and he's like, Thembi, don't do the hate thing. I'm like, I told you this a long time ago. That's why I married the wild man. He's like, I get it now.
I get it now.
Yeah, and he was able to just hang out with my husband. They'd go out and have lunches together and talk about, my dad is an artist. So my husband's an artist, and they would talk about drawing and house building and stuff like this. I'm like, you see, this white man is the exact same as you, artist, architect. You're just into sales and finance and tech, but he's not. But you people are the same.
Yeah, I think we're all the same. No matter where we are in the world, we all smile. We've all got love and fear. We all go to the toilet. We all poop.
We all sleep.
We all sleep. We're all the same, Even the politicians that get a lot of hard times, and and everybody is kind of like, I think, yeah. For me, like if you think of something as simple, if you believe in it or not, but like law of attraction, it's a concept where you can manifest and attract what you want, but also you can manifest and attract what you don't want if you focus on the things that you don't want. Some people say it's kind of like the law of the universe. For me, it's just a bit of common sense. If I think positive, I'm going to have a good day. If I think negative, I'm going to probably attract some negative days. But I feel like that's what we are trained to do, is like focus on what we don't want, focus on the badness of the world. Where we just had a podcast with a guy called James, who's a nature therapist guide, where he's basically just saying that we're all one. Everything is connected, the animals, the people. And if we just, imagine we lived in a world where we started focusing on that again. Like the yogis used to do thousands of years ago. They would teach their children that you are divine. Now meditate on your oneness, meditate on love, meditate on being with the nature. And I think that's what's really missing. Like we're not one. We're so separate from each other. We forget that we're one. We forget that we're divine.
Yeah, but I can understand okay, let's look at the people coming from war. How do I look at you or looking at me, just like the people here? We live a life that to them is like so amazing they would love to live. And if I'm coming from war and haven't healed that trauma, there's no way I can focus on let's be one.
Yeah.
So, it's like I think that's why we are the ones at the forefront going, let's heal. Let's talk about this. Let's come together. So I'm very grateful that we've worked together to build the school and just take our children out, because we are planting a new seed. It's always been one. It's always been God consciousness as one, no matter how we show up. But now we're actually actualizing that seed, and we're actualizing the concept, but we're planting the seed on a bigger scale. Because we have a British person and a Zulu woman. Our history is not very sexy, British people and Zulu. It's not very sexy, but here we are, loving each other.
Very sexy.
Astute, sophisticated, and sexy. There we go.
Amazing.
And we have a scandal going that we are dating.
Yeah.
How amazing.
It's brilliant. I hope your husband is okay with it.
No. I told him about it. He laughed. He laughed.
Yeah.
He was laughing about it.
He's like a big bodybuilder. He's going to come and get me one day.
No, he was laughing about it because I'm always like that. Like I was in China and there was another, at the lobby desk, we lived in this high rise. And I was talking to a Chinese guy and I used to go out with my Chinese brother. And they used to gossip. They told my husband one day, oh, she's out with a Chinese guy. And my husband was like, oh, Andy, her friend, her brother. They're like, oh, is her brother? They're like, yeah, he's from America. They're like, oh, we thought she was sleeping with the guy. I'm like,
that's a really good point to make, right? Because it just shows you what gossip can do.
Yeah.
When back to awareness for me, meditation, like it seems like we just live in a world of gossip on a small scale. But really, like that's what the whole racism thing is.
Yeah.
All of the wars are. All of
Yes.
people. Oh, is he sleeping with her? Is she doing this? That all comes from just this little mindedness. Of like gossip and chitter chat. It's like,
I think people are bored when they gossip. Because I noticed this, especially in the collective culture, because I'm from the collective culture. So I kind of understand the collective culture. In China, these women would sit, so it was like a 52-story building, sort of building, and they knew everything about each person. Who I don't know how they knew the stuff, but they kind of knew everything. They would watch you coming, because there's a lot of cameras in China. They would watch you coming down the elevator. They would watch what you're wearing. And then they would ask you 3 days later, but like, didn't you buy new shoes? And I'm like, you're watching that I bought new shoes, and they knew everything about everyone.
Scary.
But like, if you think of it, they sit there and they're looking at their phone the whole day and they're not engaged. Their brains are rotting. It's just boredom. You just sit there and go, Niha. Meaning, just here, yes, put the mail there, deliver the water to B1 or whatever it is. They allow our brains to rot. Actually, they encourage, there's an energy field that is encouraging our brains to rot. Games, soap operas, all these stories, right? And of course, if you're watching Korean soap operas or Chinese soap operas on your phone, and everybody in the soap opera is sleeping with everybody, when you see a black woman with a Chinese guy and she's got an older white man, you're like, oh, oh yeah, no, definitely she must be sleeping with.
There's something going on.
There's
right?
something, because in the soap operas, there's always something going on.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting at reception desk and you're not studying or reading a book on enlightenment or something like that, you look at where we live. Most people are on their phone watching a soap opera.
It's crazy, huh?
It's a story and they're listening to the
It's like
story.
that film Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, it's like a story and a story and a story and a story. It's like, whoa.
Let's get to the original story. I am the face of divinity. You are the face of divinity. That's that. That's the original story.
Yeah.
We came in as perfection, pure perfection. Yes, we've got our past lifetimes and parallel lifetimes, but true story, truth with a capital T, I am the face of love. You are the face of love. Everything else is just another story that just keeps you kind of crazy.
I'm goosebumping. Hello, you amazing viewer. I hope you're enjoying this video and I've got some really exciting news for you. You know that moment when you're reading a book and it just ignites that light bulb moment for you? It wakes something up inside you, that passion, that enthusiasm, or that spark for life. Well, the big announcement is my new book, Awaken Your Spirit, is ready for either pre-order or, depending on when you're watching this book, you can order your copy right now. Over the last couple of years, I've poured my heart and soul into writing Awaken Your Spirit. I don't know about you, but sometimes that voice inside the head just never seems to shut up. Well, this book shows you a step-by-step process on how to really close your eyes and go inside and separate from this monkey mind and this never-ending conversation that goes round and round and round. Whether you're seeking inner peace, you're looking to recharge your batteries, or you want to feel more grounded and in harmony with life, this book has got something for you, and it's going to show you how to connect to a very deeper level within you. Now, I don't want to keep any more of your time. Get back to the interview. And again, if you're somebody that really is looking to get back in the driving seat of your life, master this monkey mind, reach your full potential and ignite that excitement, that enthusiasm and that passion for life, make sure you awaken your spirit just below. Have an amazing day and enjoy the rest of the video.
No, but true.
No, I agree with you. I mean, this is the stuff that when I'm teaching meditations to our students, it's like, yes, you have feelings and emotions. Yes, you have stories and identities. But if you're going to identify with anything, identify with the truth that's within you. Like, why would you identify with like stuff that's just constantly coming and going, which people have like poisoned or triggered? Like, identify with being God. Identify with being the fucking universe. Like, what? Why would you identify with anything else? That said, for people that are...
I love that. Oh, hallelujah. The spirits of the living gods are here. Hey, please say that again. Identify with
spirit, identify with God. Why identify? Because when I talk to clients, they say my anxiety, for example.
Yeah, we always love to be mine.
Yeah,
mine,
it's
mine,
like my money in my bank account. I've lost my job, and that to me creates suffering. You know, Eckhart Tolle says the problem isn't the problem. The problem is always what you think of a problem.
Correct.
So in other words, like, it's not a problem that there's anxiety. Of course there's anxiety. It's just something going on in the body. There's not a problem that you've lost your money or made all your money or you've had a divorce or somebody's died. That's just life. The problem is the story you now attach to it that then creates suffering, and then people spend a whole lifetime lost in that story. I love like waking people up because it comes from a place of truth and love. Like, I'm not trying to be right or wrong. People can subscribe. I don't really care, you know? I generally I'm on this earth to say to people, like, identify with what you just said, identify with God. Yeah. And I guarantee that a lot of your problems will probably just dissolve almost instantly when what's that book? Discover the Power Within You. Eric Butterworth says, if you walk into the podcast studio and it's nighttime and the lights are off, you're going to bang your leg, your shin onto the table. I'll knock the coconuts.
You've read Eric Butterworth's book?
Oh, I love Eric Butterworth.
I knew you were my baby daddy. I'm like, oh yes, them gods are good, my baby daddy.
He's amazing.
Spiritual Economics. Have you read that one?
Yeah.
That goes deep into the heart of this abundance thing.
Yeah, the whole
limitation and
But yeah, coming back to the story, he says if you walk into the dark room or the podcast room, you're going to walk into everything. You're going to bang your arms. You're going to knock the table over. You're going to hurt yourself. He said, all you need to do is switch on the light and the darkness disappears. And I know that's such a kind of like simple concept, but that's all we need to do in society is just switch the lights on. Like, see light, which to me would be God, love, divinity, and then all of our darkness will start to fade away out of this world, you know? But it's easier said than done.
It's so much easier said than done. I think that's why I focus on mental health, because
When you say focus on mental health, what do you mean? You
like even
work
in
with
my
people?
teaching, like look at the children, like I love myself, you know, it's affirming the good. Yeah, the story, I am a war victim, because they can have that story. I could have had that story. I come from Civil War, and you must be extra nice to me because I've had so much trauma. Okay?
You're brilliant.
But like seriously, I could focus on that story. Or I could say, I am the face of God. And yes, this has happened, but I choose not to live from that.
Yeah.
Right? So what you're saying, we're here to plant those seeds. You're in your own way with the podcast, planting those seeds. We need more of us doing that.
Yeah.
And we need also more leaders like you going, hang on, enough with the story. But people are addicted to these stories. They will kill you for these stories because it's my anxiety. Let me tell you about my heartbreak.
Yeah.
And then it's another 10 years of the same story.
Yeah. And it's the worst. I've helped a lot of people get off of heroin and drugs, and I've been a drug addict in the past myself. But the worst addiction is your addiction to your story. That's the worst addiction. You get off of that addiction, then all the other stuff, you haven't got any problems. But on a serious note, it is, if you got on a plane with a suicide bomber and he was sitting next to you on a plane, if you're a suicide bomber and you're watching this, make sure you unsubscribe. If you're on a plane with a suicide bomber, he's going to show you that he's got a bomb and he's about to kill everyone. You could sit there for an hour trying to talk him out of it, but he would tell you who's doing that for a good reason. He's doing it for God, because he's so brainwashed in his story, and you will never talk him out of it. And I know that's an extreme example to use, but to me, that is the stories that you and me and everyone, if you're lost in them, that's what you're telling yourself. And if I try and take the story away from you, like then it's going to, obviously people are going to be triggered by this probably, because this is my story. You're trying to take away an identity. And I think that's, if you take someone's identity away and you are God and you're in the emptiness, it's like very scary for some people.
That's the
if
dark
they
night of
haven't
the
felt
soul.
it. Yes, yeah.
That's the dark night of, as soon as, I think for me, when I started taking ayahuasca, that's when it hit. Because it was like my ancestors came in and they're like, you need to let go of the story. I'm like, but no, I kind of like to have that. Oh, I was born and raised in Civil War. Okay, I kind of still had a residue of that story, because I find myself sometimes getting mad at my husband. And I was like, no, there's still some residue. As much as therapy and forgiveness work, and then so the ayahuasca showed me the parts of me that still were in that residue of, I want to keep the story going. And then when I said, okay, God, enough. Whatever no longer serves my highest good must go. Whatever story is still running through me must go. Yo, did I not go into a dark night of the soul? I didn't know myself because most of the stories had to fall apart. This is why we hold on to our stories, because who am I without my story? Who am I without my wounding? And oh my God, my dad didn't want me to marry a white man. Now, who am I without those stories? Nobody. So then I have to truly find what divinity is through and as me. And where do I even begin? What does that even look
where
like?
Would you begin? Where would you begin if you're watching this and you've not turned off yet because you haven't been triggered? But you're watching this and you're like, actually, they might have a point. Where would somebody begin?
Mental health. It's therapy.
Right.
Okay, not everybody wants to go to therapy, but here's what, not even just therapy. Let's say, therapy books, yoga, meditation. Why? Because when you start questioning, even if you're just having a coach, just a coach, questioning you, why are you thinking that? What happened for you to have, your dad married a Thai woman and now he's so happy living his best life? Because there was a questioning there of, okay, this sounds crazy. I'm missing out on love and joy, and look at my son. He's having a great life. He's traveling the world, whatever. It was a question that caused him to change his story. When we don't have the information, like I look at Africa, there's no therapy in Africa. That's why I'm like kind of the therapist of Africa and African people, because we have our own African therapy, our own ways of healing, but questioning the mind so that we can get out of the story.
Yeah.
I got from white people. I'm like, thank God for white people. Thank God I didn't hate white people, because I wouldn't have gone to white people universities.
White people universities. I love that.
Do you know what I mean? And I have the African mysticism and the African shamanism, and then I've got the white people questioning. I've got Freud. I've got Carl Jung. I'm like, white people, thank you so much. Mix that together, and now it's healing. And I'm even working with white people, and white people are like, this is so good, doctors. This is so good. I'm like, damn straight. Because I took the black people thing and the white people thing, and I mixed it together, and I made something real beautiful that couldn't have been achieved with just white people working together by themselves and black people working by themselves. It does. God's got jokes. God wants us to work together. This is the problem with this.
And God is probably green.
Yeah.
Out of all of that, it was a big joke.
Do you know what I mean?
And he's a green.
And it's a blue and it's a pink.
Yeah, Krishna, yeah.
Maybe it's a mermicon. We don't know.
You have no idea, right?
But this thing called God has got jokes. It wants us to work together.
Yeah. Coming back to meditation, I love that you said, because we're going to your meditation journey as well. You've been meditating, etc. But I think a lot of people might think meditation is you close your eyes, you sit there, and it's just your mind is empty and you're free. But I love, which obviously is part of meditation, and when you can get to those states of consciousness, it is bliss, and you really understand a lot about yourself and life, maybe or maybe not, I don't know. But for me, meditation is also about questioning. And I love that you said that. Like, it's kind of like self-reflection. Why am I acting? Why am I behaving? Is this who I am? Who am I? Constantly asking these beautiful questions. So it's not just about closing your eyes and emptying a mind. It's also about like really waking up and questioning or challenging yourself. You've been to Vipassana, which is like a silent retreat for a number of days. What got you on the meditation journey, and how's that been?
Yeah, I was studying, I think it was my second psychology class, because that was my focus, finance and psychology. And one of the teachers was from Swaziland, which is a neighboring country in South Africa. He was a missionary. His parents were missionaries from America, and they were assigned to work in South Africa and Swaziland. And so he went back after that missionary experience and became a psychologist. And he understood the pain of trauma of civil war in South Africa. And I just happened to take his class. So I'm sitting in his class, and he's like, yeah, Ms. Buthelezi, I think a great experience for you would be to go to this thing called the Vipassana. You look like you can handle it. I was like, what is that? He's like, Google it. So when I Google it, I was like, it's 10 days and I must be quiet and I must eat this vegan thing, food thing, this, and I must live like a nun or a monk. This doesn't sound like a great idea. But I was like, no, but I don't feel good. Because when you're in a psychology program, it's all about questioning and understanding your own mind, so that when you have clients who are behaving or patients who are behaving in a way that is what's normal, but like self-harming, you can understand from your own perspective. You never go into medicine or therapy or psychology because you're a perfect human being. It's because you're broken on some level, you believe. But the questioning brings you to the point of understanding, I have never been broken, I've never been harmed. But this is the beauty of spiritual psychology. Because Vipassana gave me the discipline. Sit, question, feel the sensation in the body. Do not aversion and desire, right? Oh, wonderful sensation coming through me. Oh, I don't want this pain. Oh, pain, pain, pain. So it allowed me to just sit there with my pains. Okay, by day 7, you want to run away. Day 3, I wanted to run away.
Day 2, I was trying to get back to fun.
Like day 3, I was like, enough with these hippies and these stupid people. I am, living my best life in Las Vegas. Who cares about these people? And the meditation teacher was like, don't leave. I said, no, I'm packing up. I'm going to my wonderful life in Vegas. I'm out of here. This is crazy. She's like, no, just stay 2 more hours. And then in the 2 hours, I felt such bliss. I said, okay, I'm staying. Oh, no. Day 5, I wanted to leave. Day 7, I was
Up and down.
And it was like anicca, impermanence. So with mindfulness, with psychology, you can ask the question, sit in the pain or the discomfort or the pleasure and not react. Just be in it. I'm really angry now. I want to go stab that person because they did this. I want to get real revenge now. Meditation teaches you to sit and look at the madness of your own mind.
Oh, I love that you said that.
Right? And then the questioning portion of it is like, yeah, if I go stab that person, if I get arrested, that's 10 years in prison. Oh my God, I love going to the dentist every 3 months. I'm sorry, there's no dentist at the prison and I've got $50,000 worth of dental work. Yeah, I'm not going to stab the person. No, I'm going to do forgiveness
Talk
work.
yourself out of it.
But it's that. Because if we don't actually look at the steps, we end up in places where we don't really want to be. But who gives us the questioning? Or just even as a man saying, I love you. I love you. It's okay to cry, okay? It's okay to say, I'm not feeling good. It's okay to say, I'm hurting. You're my brother. I love you. Come and tell me what's wrong. Since when has men been given that opportunity? Never. As women, we get together, we cry, we meditate, we pray together. Hey, girl, let me tell you my troubles. Ooh, that man is... But where do men get that opportunity?
Yeah.
So that's why I think meditation, mental health, gives you liberation.
It creates like a window of opportunity in my own little brain, because I have this thought. It can be a craving or a lust, or it could be this or an insecurity, and it comes in and I can just see, and then I don't have to, like I said, I don't have to identify with it. It's not my story, and then I can just let it go.
Yeah.
And in the past it would come in and then I would take action, or I would behave and get myself into some trouble, I would do silly little things, and then I'd always regret it after, or feel depressed and suicidal after I did these crazy things. And so for me, when meditation, if you're listening at home and you've never meditated, like, just practice it and just start to watch this madness. Because I love what you said. Like, when you really wake up and realize that the mind is deluded.
We are mad.
So mental. And the people that are kind of running around ruling these countries and, feel like they know exactly what they're doing. I'm like, wow, you're so further away in the delusion. But when you realize you're mad and you realize, then you start to kind of be free, right? You can go, oh, okay, I'm absolutely mental. 1 minute I was so in love with this person.
Yeah.
Next minute I hate him. I can't talk to him. 1 minute I was going to do this and do that with my life. Next minute and it's like, if you really watch that voice, you see that it's just absolutely mental. And that to me is like the only way to freedom. Is to be really aware that you're mad. Like, we're mad and deluded, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But now I don't have to act from it.
Yeah.
Now I can just sit and just watch it go on and go blah, 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 blah.
How beautiful is that? I don't have to act from it, because we don't even know what we're thinking. Most people don't know. I don't know sometimes what I'm going to be thinking in the next 5 minutes. I don't know what you're going to ask me, and I don't know how I'm going to respond. I'm going to respond as honestly as I can, but I'm still kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody's crazy. We don't know what's really going on until you sit down. Like, just even coming here to this interview, I sat down for an hour and I prayed. I said, God, not my will be done. Thy will through and as me connected to my higher self. So that my will and your will for love to reign supreme can be the ultimate. But if I'm not going to sit down and respect just this time and say, okay, I need to sit down and meditate and get myself together so I can be present, I'm just going to start speaking rubbish, because I'm not centered in love and to being of service to your community and just as my lover, as my baby daddy. It's important to be present when you're with people because it's energy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I really know what you mean. One of the things that I find sad sometimes is when I'm talking to somebody and they grab their phone, or, I've got a mind which is 100 miles per hour. I know that I'm all over the place, but my practice is to be as present as I can. And I think I try to be so present because I'm so sensitive. When somebody's not present with me, I feel it. I'm like, are you going to talk to me, or are you going to just scroll on your phone? So I think presence for me is such a power. That's why, going back to the elephants, I love the elephants. They're so powerful and strong, but they're so peaceful and present. They're just in that moment.
But you're the divine masculine. We had a conversation about divine masculine, right? How many men are like, I love being present? I mean, come on, seriously. Okay, for me, that's divine masculinity. I'm like, give it to me some more, daddy. Let me come close. Yes, real. And that's why I married my husband, because he was present.
Beautiful.
Right? And
I think, do you think, sorry to butt in,
Yeah,
do
no,
you
no.
think it's it's not like you married him because of like, you know, all the other stuff, but it's like you're the divine sees the
Yeah.
divine.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
tantra, that's God.
Yeah.
It's like he saw your light.
Yeah.
Not the colour of your skin. or
Yes.
You saw his light. And because you
Right.
both, I'm getting goosebumps, because we both see each other from that place, like, why would you not want to spend the rest of your life with somebody like that?
Do you know what I mean?
Like when everybody else is like, they're too busy on their phones, and it's like I really respect my own light, so I'm not going to waste it while you're not recognizing it. And I don't mean that in a way of like I'm needy and I need some validation for somebody to love me. It's like, no, I know who I am, and if you can't see it in yourself, you're never going to see it in me. And so obviously I feel like maybe do you think he's seen your light and you've seen each other's light, and that to me is probably one of the most sexiest, attractive things on the planet. You know, when somebody can see your light inside.
I see you.
Yeah.
I see the divinity of God in you. And this is what happened to us at the beach when we first met. You were like, hello. And I was like, hello. And here we are with children now and all of this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because we chose to see God in each other at 7:00 in the morning. I was just doing my meditation, walking there. You were running and I was like, oh, what a sexy man. Oh, daddy. I mean, and we just saw God in each other, and here we are.
Yeah, I love that. I love it so much. Thank you so much. I got the 50-minute call from Antonio a while ago, but we just kept on going. And if you're listening and you're thinking, what is that sound in the background? We're actually in Thailand right now, and it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It is raining everywhere. So it's
beautiful.
like just the sounds of the rain in the background, and the temperature has changed for both of us. Like I'm not sweating as much
Yeah.
on the podcast right
My
now.
perimenopause has come down.
So just to kind of like a takeaway for anybody that's listening, probably thinking, who on earth is that crazy black woman? Who on earth is that crazy white man? What on earth they just spoke about for an hour? How would we sum up this conversation? For me, what I would get from you, it's about love, and it's about coming back into the presence of God, whatever you want to label that, the divinity, and then sharing that with each other. How would you sum up what we was trying to get across?
There's no such thing as this color thing. Let's get rid of that story. I want divinity as me wants us to be so madly in love with each other, and the divinity within each other that we can just kiss each other and love each other. And it's so authentic, and there is no boxes to it. I can just run up to you and just be like we do all the time, Daddy, you know? And there is no boxes to it or inhibitions.
It's just pure.
Just like for you, you make me so happy because you're a child. You haven't lost your inner child. Like even the laughter and like the way you run, you haven't lost your inner child. I think that's really the message here. Don't lose your inner child.
Oh, I love that.
Don't lose your inner child. Because once you've lost your inner child, then you live a sad, boring, pathetic, excuse for a life.
To the grown up.
Yeah. Growing up sucks. Don't lose your inner child.
I think on a serious note, that's why I love people like yourself, because I see this innocence. I love the children that we're teaching. I love seeing the elephants and the animals. And yeah, when there's a grown-up conversation, I'm like, huh?
Grown up sucks. That's our thing. I think we should get teachers.
Write a book.
Grown up sucks.
Grown up. Don't grow up, it's a trap.
Don't grow up. It's a trap.
Thembi, thank you so much.
Thembi,
I knew it.
you are married to me and we have babies and oh my God.
I'm going to call Bryn Brian. Bring my mate up Brian with Bryn. I'm good.
I love you anyway. It
I
doesn't
love
matter.
you so much. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
doing everything that you do, not just on the podcast and coming here and hanging out with me, but teaching those children. They love you, and just like hearing them scream and shout your name and shout out how much they love you, and for the opportunity for me to be able to come and be part of that as well.
I love you, Daddy. I love
wonderful.
you. Thank you so much. Without you, the masculine energy wouldn't have been there. So I'm so grateful that you show up. You were showing up every Tuesday. Thank you, Daddy.
Well, apart from the time I missed because I slept in, I forgot all about it. But we won't say that on the podcast. Don't.
Don't worry, mommy stood in for you.
Forgive me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello viewers, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm hoping that you enjoyed it just as much as we enjoyed making it. We love this adventure we're on, we love growing this community, and we would love you to actually help us. So I've got a favor to ask you. Make sure that you subscribe below, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and turn that notification button on, because that actually helps us with the algorithm. In other words, it's gonna help us reach more people and spread this ripple effect. And I really appreciate your time and energy for watching any video. So if you've got any comments or questions or queries, make sure you pop them in the box below. By subscribing, you are going to be one of the first people to know when we release new content. If you really want to take your journey and your growth to the next level, make sure you watch this next video and have an amazing day. Once again, thank you so much for your time and your energy. See you in the next video.